Man, what is really going on here? ESPN anchor Ellie Duncan has verbally attacked Sheryl Swoopes after Sheryl Swoopes made her comments about Caitlin Clark on her Queen of the Court podcast. Ellie Duncan has really took it to another level. But before we get off into today's podcast, tell a friend to tell a friend. Man, we got a cat fight brewing here, man. What is going on? Ellie Duncan has verbally attacked Sheryl Swoopes for Sheryl Swoopes' comments about Caitlin Clark. Now, the other day we produced a show talking about, what Sheryl Swoopes had to say about the Rookie of the Year race. Now, Sheryl Swoopes went on the podcast, Queen of the Court with Jordan Robinson, and they were sitting down discussing the midseason awards. And also they was talking about the Rookie of the Year race in the WNBA between Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark. Now, Jordan Robinson, she made a good case for Caitlin Clark. And Sheryl Swoopes, she was standing on business talking about Angel Reese and why she thought Angel Reese was the Rookie of the Year. She made a great case for Angel Reese as well, without hating or minimizing what Caitlin Clark has done on the WNBA basketball court. So Jordan Robinson made a case for Caitlin Clark without minimizing what Angel Reese has done on the WNBA basketball court. But what happens? Anytime somebody makes an opinion about Caitlin Clark, the narrative is out there that it's just hate. Why does it have to be hate when somebody's only making their personal opinion and their sports analyst opinion about certain players, but y'all consider it hate? When they make opinions about other players on what they're doing on the basketball court, the media and the narrative ain't out there that this analyst is hating on this player or this analyst is hating on this player. It only happens when it comes to Caitlin Clark. When anybody makes their assumptions or their opinions about Caitlin Clark, a lot of people get their panties in the bunches. And it's becoming ridiculous now. Now, we have to talk about this because Ellie Duncan went on her podcast today, F Around and Find Out, and she has some choice words that she said about Sheryl Swoopes because Sheryl Swoopes made an opinion about Caitlin Clark. Now, I'm going to play for you what Elle Duncan said, and you guys tell me, what do you think this is? It's like Elle Duncan has really been defensive about Caitlin Clark. Now, she is a Sports Center ESPN anchor, and what she's supposed to do is be fair about situations. So I don't know why she took it personally, like Caitlin Clark is related to her. That's the way she made it seem because of some of the words that she said towards Sheryl Swoopes. And then later on, she had to issue a written apology to Sheryl Swoopes. I don't know if ESPN got a hold of that and said, hey, you was out of line, you was out of character, but you need to apologize to Sheryl Swoopes. I don't know if the executives came down on her and made her apologize and probably, say, hey, we're not going to tolerate that. But let's listen to what Elle Duncan said about Sheryl Swoopes when Sheryl Swoopes made her comments toward Caitlin Clark. Take a listen.
Ball world this week, though, and I love her, but she's wrong here. Sheryl Swoopes, former WNBA player, we all know that, current host of Queen of the Court podcast. She had some thoughts. She's had some thoughts previously about Caitlin. She would later have to apologize of those thoughts being uninformed, she shoots like 60 shots a game. Just being a little bit inflammatory and critical without any actual analysis. And she apologized for that during the women's college season. And she's now stepped in it again by saying that Indiana is in the playoffs right now without Caitlin Clark. By saying that like Katie Lou Samuelson's really more integral in terms of her two-way ability than Caitlin, and also saying that, and I don't besmirch her for this because lots of people are making arguments for whether they think that it is Angel Reese or Caitlin Clark that should be Rookie of the Year. I've said that I think it's Caitlin, but that I could understand someone making an argument for the other. It's not hate to make an argument for Angel Reese. So I don't take any issue with that part. But the other part, it just feels like there is something there, and I'm not really sure what is not connecting with Sheryl and why. And I don't know if some of that is driven in sort of the hurt that she felt from the fan base or some of the attacks that were leveled at her after she had those comments a few months ago. But this feels really, really, really off par. This just doesn't feel right at all. And it is starting to feel a little bit like hate from Sheryl, who just in this particular space, stop. If the Fever, who won a handful of games last year, are in the playoffs this year, then you have to understand that a large part of that is Caitlin Clark and Aaliyah Boston. Either one of them. I would have accepted either one of those.
Kelsey Mitchell, too. I mean,
so you heard what Elle Duncan had to say. Now, here's my position on it. Now, why does it have to be hate when somebody makes opinion about Caitlin Clark? Now, I think y'all take it too far and go to the extreme because it's Caitlin Clark. We all know how the fan base feels about Caitlin Clark. We all know how her fans feel about her. But for these ESPN anchors and analysts to go against each other and spirit this narrative about hate, and they're going back and forth, and two women going back and forth, it's a cat fight because somebody made an opinion that you didn't like, so you take it upon yourself to come out and say it's hate. Now, you know, hate is a strong word. And for Elle Duncan to come out like that, and like I said, the ESPN executives must have came down on her because she had to issue a formal apology this morning after she went on her show yesterday, the Elle Duncan show, and, you know, made these comments. So like I stated, I don't know if somebody said, hey, we're not going to tolerate this. You're going to have to issue a formal apology to Sheryl Swoopes because you was out of line. Now, like I said, hate is a strong word to be thrown around, and for somebody to be in the position that you are in, Elle Duncan, your voice is being heard. You're an ESPN anchor, and, you know, Disney's not going for that. So I think that they came down on you, and you had to issue that apology. But Sheryl said nothing wrong. I mean, her takes is her takes. But I just don't understand why they taking her takes out of context and spewing it like it's hate. We got to stop that, man. I mean, everybody has an opinion. I mean, we can agree to disagree, but everybody keeps saying that Sheryl, I'd see the comments, they saying Sheryl was out of line, she's out of pocket. Man, I don't think Cheryl's out of pocket. Sheryl got her own opinion. But let me ask you guys a question. If it was her opinions about Angel Reese the same as her opinions about Caitlin Clark, would that be okay? I'll wait for an answer. I would love to hear your comments down in the comment section to see if the shoe was on the other foot and she was making these comments about Angel Reese. Will we even be talking about it? I don't think so. But I think Elle Duncan took it a little too far. That's why she had to issue that apology. But I just think that, you know, people's basketball takes and their form, the way they form their opinions, that's their opinions. We can all agree to disagree. You might not like the opinion, but you don't have to throw that word hate around because I don't think it's hate. I just think it's the basketball insight coming out. We all know who Sheryl Swoopes is. She's a Hall of Famer. She was one of the GOATs of the WNBA. You know, she was in the league when it inaugurated in 1997. So, you know, her opinion is her opinion. She's been around greats. She's been around basketball players. She has an IQ for basketball. She knows, she played the game at a high level. So her opinion is her opinion. But who is Elle Duncan to say that Sheryl Swoopes is hating? But that's going to wrap up another day's episode of the Simply Ball Dropping Podcast. I'm your host and the man behind the mic, K-Sap. We're going to catch you on the next one. Deuces. And remember, on the way out the door when you put your shoes on, do me a favor. Give this video a thumbs up.
Thanks for listening to the Simply Ball Droppin' podcast. Be sure to subscribe, like, and share on all major platforms.
That's all, folks.